Well, South Australia's upper house has just passed laws to significantly increase penalties for people who engage in seriously disruptive protests. MPs spent all night debating the laws, which mean anyone charged with obstructing a public place may be fined up to $50,000 or face up to 3 months in jail. Reporter Chris McLaughlin has more from Adelaide.
It's been an all-nighter. They're a fairly rare occurrence, but given the chance, they'll pull one if they can try. The four crossbenchers were up all night debating against the bill. They had one win with the reckless intention clause removed out of the bill. This was considered contentious because it was very open-ended. The bill will now pass in the form largely accepted by, or largely desired by the state government and the state opposition. It was supported in a bipartisan way by both parties. So I'm not privy to the detail of what was debated over those 15 hours. Our parliamentary log closes off at midnight, so they were still going at 7 a.m. this morning, if you can believe that. So the Premier's been out today to remark upon the proceedings in the upper house. This is what he had to say this morning.
There is nothing changing to the Public Assemblies Act, and that is the law that governs the way protests operate in South Australia and has been since 1972. So nothing is changing there. And what we have got a clear focus on is those people who are breaking the law repeatedly with impunity. In fact, they've been coming in from interstate. The people that caused the most recent shutdown of the city came from interstate. So look, protest is welcome, but it's got to be done in such a way that is conscious of other people's rights within our community.
Chris, what's the reaction been?
Well, the reaction remains the same as it was when it was first introduced last week, fairly urgently. It got to a third reading in about 20 minutes in the lower house of Parliament. It will go back there today, presumably be passed fairly rapidly. So I think the government got what it wants, the opposition got what it wants. I think police have got what they want. They now have the potential to seek a $50,000 sanction against someone who breaches the obstructing a public place law. The concerns were that this got people who were sleeping rough in the frame, so that concern still is probably live. There's also a concern that there hasn't been enough consultation with the respective legal bodies, such as the South Australian Law Society, about how this should work when it is actually presented to a judge. So how does the judge decide whether to fine a person $50,000 or more, or to send someone to jail? So I think once a person's actually been charged with this offence, that's when it will become more interesting to see what actually happens to one of these people.